All right, next on the bench is a Pioneer SX680. No output on this one. So, and it's in pretty rough shape. I mean, the cabinet's kind of trashed. As you can see, that vinyl veneer's peeling all over the place. So, I'm going to open this up, take a look at the inside. This has Darlington power packs, which I would assume, if we are indeed not getting any output, I would assume that the power packs are probably bad. But let's open this up and take a look around. Just 4 screws on this one to take off. So, whoops. Those Darlington power packs, I've purchased replacements off of eBay and Amazon, and they're not real. They say that they're, you know, Sanyo or whoever the manufacturer is, but they haven't made these forever. So you're really getting reproductions. That's probably the safest way to say it, right? Counterfeits, reproductions. All right. So let's see what kind of damage we have in here, if we can see any. So yeah, this has 2 STK 0039s. They look to be replacements, but I don't know if they're replacements or not. So looks like all the fuses are good, just visibly. They visibly look okay. Yep, all those look good. This one does not, I don't believe this one has any type of protection circuit. There's another fuse back there I did not check. But I'm sure that fuse is okay, because it looks alright. Yep. So first thing I'm going to do is connect this to the dim bulb tester. Power it on. Volume's down. Tape monitor, FM. And I want to check for DC at the outputs. So on, we have lights. It's on FM. Tuner appears to work. It's on speaker A. We have sixty millivolts and no millivolts, 0 millivolts. That looks all right. I'm going to connect my test speakers and see if I get any sound. Be great if I got some sound. I'm going to hook an antenna up to it as well to make sure I have some decent FM reception. I've actually had equipment brought to me where they'll say, hey, I don't get anything on FM, and it's because they don't have an antenna hooked up and the muting circuit is turned on. So that's on. It's on FM. No stereo light. Oh, yep, I got a stereo light. Muting is off. And there is no sound. No sound on any input. All right. So I am going to go out on a limb here and assume that these Darlingtons are probably bad. But I will go through the troubleshooting steps on this one to determine what's going on with it. So what I'm going to do is probably in the next video I'm going to print up a schematic. I'm going to start with the power supply, just check that out, make sure I've got voltages that are good in the power supply, and then focus on the amp section. So I don't see anything burned up. Doesn't mean everything's good, but I don't see any burned up resistors or anything. So that's good. And I had, oh no. Say I have some power packs, but they're 78s. They're not 39s. But those, I'm almost positive, are replacements, aftermarket replacements. Alright, so stay tuned for part 2, where I go in and start poking around and see if I can figure anything out. So I've printed up the portions of the service manual to begin troubleshooting power. I was thinking about it overnight, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if both STK modules are bad. But the fact that there's no output, right? I'm thinking that there's probably an issue with power before we get to that point. So what I'm going to start doing is looking at the schematic, right, coming off the fuse holder. We've got some resistors here, 401, 405, 402, right? So I'm going to start probing for voltages on either side of these resistors, right? I'm just going to follow it, like what's my first voltage? What's the first voltage I should have, right? And then what should it be over here? So I'm going to kind of work through that. If I find anything, I'll stop and let you know. The resistors I'm going to be looking at initially, and the transistors that I'm going to be looking for voltages on are, so this is, if you're looking at the underside of this board here, so they're to the left. On here they're to the right, but they're to the left of this fuse holder. So you got 1, 2, 3 resistors, and then you got another couple of resistors over there. So I'm going to start by doing that, right? So we'll start with 401, and then I'll probably start with 401, then move to 405, then come over to 404, where I should have negative 25, and then 402, and we'll kind of work that way. So, all right, so that's what I'm going to do. If I find something bad, I will stop the video and talk about it. Oh, well, there you go. So here I've got, I'm going to have to speed this part up. I've got 52 on one side of 401, and I have a negative half on the other side. So that's kind of weird. So we're going to mark that one as bad. or a potential suspect. Then we got to go on to 405. So maybe I don't have to speed through this after all. Where is 405? R401. Oh, R405 is the next one down. But I'm thinking if 401, well, if I only have half coming off of 405, or negative half coming off of 401, I'm not going to have anything on 405. So let me go to 404. See what's going on with 404. Gosh, this is so hard to read. 40, let's see, 401, 405, 6? I don't know. Oh, here's our 404 right here. So that's coming off of, that's to the right of the fuse block. And it is buried underneath there, I think. Oh, no. It's this way. Dang, I'm all twisted. Oh, I see it. All right. So let me check on... It's 403. 404 is sitting sideways. Okay, I see 404. All right, let me check that one. I can get in there cleanly. So I got negative 30. And gosh, I can't get down in there. There we go. Well, yeah, I can't get down in there. So, all right. Well, I'm not gonna torch you with me poking around here. I'm gonna flip this over. I'm just gonna pull those two resistors out and check them. So I know this is going to be hard to see, but the bottom of this resistor is actually kind of, looks like it's burned a little bit, the bottom. So let me grab my tester here and see what is going on with this resistor. It should be 33 ohms according to the schematic. And it's showing that it's open. So that would definitely cause a problem. I just wonder what other problems it has caused downstream. So I'm going to see if I have a 33 ohm resistor. If not, I have access to some. I can grab one later on. So hopefully I've got one here that I can just pop in there real quick. So I happen to have a 33 ohm resistor, fortunately. But what I want to check as well is well, you know what, I'm going to solder this in here and I'm going to I had an idea. I wanted to check something else real quick, but I'm going to see what happens with this first and go from there. So. So here's kind of what I'm thinking. So we've got that bad resistor, but what upstream or downstream may have caused that to fail, or what did it cause to fail? And I see a diode in here that's, so that resistor that was in there was kind of sitting cockeyed, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it could mean that someone tried to replace it and just didn't do a clean job. So I'm just kind of debating on whether or not I want to fire this up, which I probably will do. Fire this up and see what happens. See if we get some sound. But I would suspect there's probably another issue somewhere down the line. But let's see. Dim bulb it. I'm going to fire this up and see what happens. Dim bulb instantly lit. So, we've got some other issues that we have to address. Still could be the SDK modules, but I guess what we can do is remove them, and they're a pain in the ass to remove because of how they're situated in here. I'm going to remove these modules and pop another resistor in there and see what happens. So this thermal paste is soft. So I think these are probably replacements. I know there's a YouTube video where someone talks about how you can determine if it's a replacement or not. I'd have to review that, but usually this is all hard. Well, I guess it is kind of hard. And then when I powered it on, no glowing bulb. So I'm thinking one or both of these is probably bad. Now a way I can test it is to plug one in at a time and see what happens. So I can pop this in there, turn it on, and see what we get. Now with that module in, no bright glow, but it could also be that resistor's toast. Let me check out the voltages of that resistor with that one module in. I didn't see any smoke from the resistor, so yeah, and I'm getting 50 on one side. That was the bad side before, so I'm getting 50 and 51, which is what I should be getting per the schematic, even on the dim bulb tester. So I'm just curious if I'm getting any sound on that channel. I'm getting a hum and a low glow. All right. Pull this out. Pop this one in. And there's a way to test these. I'll have to look up the test procedure for testing these, because off the top of my head I do not remember how to do that. Just curious as to what's going on. And same thing on that one. So I'm going to do some more poking on the components on that board again. Maybe a diode or some other resistors. So let me do some more investigating. Alright, so I found another bad resistor. Had to put on my thinking cap a little bit. So there's another resistor, R410, down here by this capacitor. I'm supposed to be getting negative 30 and like negative 30. Where's it down here? It's down here, negative 30, negative 33, and I'm getting negative 30, negative 34, and 9. So that's not correct. So I'm going to pull that resistor and see what's going on with it. Alright, so I pulled out R410 and should be 100, and I'm getting 7 mega ohms. Right? So that's not good. Oh, what I also did is I tested the STK packs. So you can measure in diode mode, you can measure between pins 2 and 3 and 8 and I don't know, 8 and 9, I think, something like that. I'd have to look it up. I had to look up instructions for it. So the STKs looked good. I'm getting 30 volts though on the outputs. So I'm going to check I'm going to replace this. I think this is a 100 ohm. Hopefully I got one of those, and I'll pop one in here. New 100 ohm resistor in for R410. Let's see what's going on now. Now I'm getting close to zero voltage on the speaker terminals. Let's see if that did the trick. Come on. Alright, so I'm going to power it on, see if we get some sound.
Hey.
We have sound. Sweet. Alright, so 2 toasted resistors in the power section. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to pull those packs back out. I'm going to clean them off, put some new thermal grease on them, reseat them, secure them. I have to look on this one. I don't know if there's a bias adjustment on this one or not. I don't see any variable resistor. Well, I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, I'm going to look at the service manual and see if there are any adjustments I need to do to the amplifier on this. And if I do, if I find something in there, I'll film it. If not, I'm going to do just a few more checks, just kind of test for some voltages here and there. If something interesting materializes, I will film it. Otherwise, I'm going to consider this one done. But again, there's some more tests I need to do, but that's kind of boring to watch. So again, if something pops up, I'll film it. If not, this will be the last you see of this 680. You know, actually I want to take a minute and kind of describe or explain to you how I got to where I found that. So like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to check for voltages, you know, in the power supply section. And what I did was I went through. I initially identified 401, right, because we had like 51, and then we had, I don't know, half a volt or whatever it was. So I went through, tested for voltages wherever I could find them in the schematic. All these transistors, I had good voltages on either side. All right, I came down to this point here, right? This point here is where I found like a negative 34, and then I found 9 volts or whatever. So that's how I got to that point. Now, what I should have done, I should not have connected my test speakers, but they are warriors, right? Because I had 30 volts on the speaker terminals. So that was kind of a boneheaded thing to do, but won't be the first boneheaded thing that I do, that I capture on video. So anyway, I'm going to clean this up, put the top and bottom back on, and this one, what I normally do is just listen to these. I'll just throw it in I'll just keep it here in the garage, and while I'm farting around, I will listen to it a little bit. I'm going to finish cleaning up the inside and outside. You've seen that in other videos, so I won't bore you with that. So anyway, this time for sure I'm going to wrap the video up, and if you like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.